Welcome back to the show. I got asked a question a few weeks ago that stopped me in my tracks, and that is going to be what I'm going to talk about today on the show. So, the question that was asked was, Quinn, do you have food noise? I sat there for a second and I immediately was like, absolutely do I have food noise all the time. And what is food noise? Food noise is you're constantly wanting to have the treats or the donuts or the cookies, or you're thinking about, all the different things, and you're trying to be disciplined. Absolutely, I have food noise. And when I really thought about it, I'm like, I have a lot of food noise. Like, this isn't something that's just a tiny amount. So this question woke me up because I realized I haven't even talked about this on my podcast. I'm always talking about the standards, the discipline, whatever. And I want to talk about the battle of the food noise, the battle of that other voice that is absolutely there. And what I've found is it actually never goes away, no matter, how disciplined you've been or whatever the case may be. It's typically going to be there because every day is a new day, and it's a new time to go at it. So when I thought about this, I thought about so many times that I've been in situations where I've gone off the rails. I'm talking, went to the store, got all the Chips Ahoy that I could, got all the Oreos that I could find, all the different flavors. My favorite, you got the peanut butter. You got this new flavor that they came out with where it's like Reese's and freaking Oreos together. Those were diabolical for a second for me. But for me, it's typically just the cookies, the brownies, things that are just simple with milk, and I call it, a night. But when you've put those in front of me, I can eat the whole thing. It's not like I'm just this guy, he doesn't really want this stuff or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's laughable to me. And there's been times in my life where I've definitely gone overboard. When I first went on my mission for my church, the service mission, I would say within 4 to 6 months of leaving, I had put on 30 plus pounds. And you guys may be sitting there like, oh, wow. I never knew that or whatever. I need to go find some pictures, right? Obviously, I deleted all those pictures. I do not want to see myself that way, but they're somewhere out there, and I gotta find some, and maybe I'll make that the episode cover photo. Me on my mission versus me now. You would definitely notice. You definitely could see it. And during those phases of my life, man, I realized that number one, I can push through when I get full, I can keep eating. I just have that ability. It just doesn't even phase me. I can put it down. And I don't know if that's just being around a bunch of football guys my whole life or just being a Fabrizio. We can put down the food when it's needed or when we got to. And during that phase on my mission, when I put on 30 plus pounds, face was chubby, felt like crap about myself. That was all it took. I felt that feeling for just long enough to know I never wanted to feel that way again. And I never will. I'm never going to let myself go back to that moment, go back to that feeling. And obviously, by the end of my mission, I had lost all that weight and more before I came home. But at the end of the day, that was the wake up call for me. That was the moment that I realized taking care of yourself is so, so important. But there's seasons in life, and sometimes you got to go through that season when you choose the wrong thing over and over and over again. I'm not saying you've got to go through it yourself, but I'm saying a lot of times we do. And a lot of times you do go through that season. And the faster you can realize how crappy and sucky you feel and how terrible it is, I think that's when you really raise the standard for yourself and you decide that that ain't ever going to happen again. But yeah, I wanted to make sure we were very clear on that. People are no different. If you have these cravings or you're thinking of this and you're like, oh my gosh, do other people have these cravings or these feelings? Absolutely, they do. I 100% have those cravings all the time. All the people that we look up to and all the people that you see online have those cravings, have the same feelings, but it's just deciding that you have a different identity. You slowly raise your standard. For me, it took years to raise my standard up and up and up and up. And you just consistently are doing it. And then at the end of the day, you have more votes towards this better version of yourself than the other version. And it just starts, the scale starts tipping the other way. And, it is a daily war though. It's not something that I've ever just come to this realization that I don't deal with food noise. I don't deal with any sort of wanting to just say screw it and just eat whatever the heck I want for the day. Or, they call it cheat meals, out there in the world. But like, even like outside of cheat meals, like sometimes you just want to say screw it the whole day and just eat whatever the heck you want. So those things definitely come and go. I will say this, over years and over, you know, time, the more you stack votes for this identity of this 2.0 version and you feel so crappy after you have some of these foods over and over and over again. I have slowly had less and less of those moments. And I continue to have less and less of those moments as I get older. You just don't want them anymore. It's like, the effect, but it took some time to learn that. It took some time to finally feel that. And here's another angle that I'll bring up. Waking up early. This is something that I've been doing for a while, and a lot of people will ask me, how do you do it? Or they just label me as a morning person. Oh man, you're just a morning person. I'm a night owl. I'm a night owl. I'm a morning person, whatever the case may be. I still battle with that as well every single day. Like I've heard some guys online say, oh, after you wake up at 5 a.m. for long enough, your body just jumps out of bed. I don't know what they're on, but I ain't ever jumped out of bed at 5 a.m. just spry, ready to freaking go. Very, very, maybe 1% of the time is that ever going to be the case. When my alarm goes off, and I've actually moved it back to about 4:50, 4:45, I've kind of pushing it back and back and back. But when my alarm goes off at 4:50 in the morning or 5 a.m., I do want to just sit in bed. I do want to just relax in the warm sheets and just sleep in till 9. It's not like that goes away. It's not like the cravings of brownies and cookies go away. Now, as you build the habit and as you build your identity, you almost can't see yourself doing it, which makes it a little bit harder to do because you're like, that's not me. That's not who I am. But you do still have that thought come up. It still comes into my mind. That version still, comes into my mind. It still comes into the identity level. So nobody's immune to that. Nobody's immune to the pull of complacency, of being average, of saying it's no big deal. It's just one day. It's just one moment. I mean, I think as you get better or as you get more consistent with things, the noise maybe turns down a little bit, but I don't know. Some people make it sound like you can just have no issues just waking up at 5 a.m. and it's not even a big deal. I don't see it that way. I think it's totally something that you still got to negotiate with yourself every morning. I just feel like you turn it off quicker. You're like, nah, I'm not doing that. And you just make it happen. Those are the two stories that came to my mind. Yes, I have food noise. Yes, it's still hard to wake up at 5 a.m. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It doesn't matter if you've been good for 6 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, because if you don't do it today, it gets harder and harder and harder. You start slipping 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. That's with diet. That's with nutrition. That's with waking up at 5 a.m. That's with whatever you want to do, right? There's no like, oh, this isn't for me, because it takes away the excuse that, oh, he's different. Sometimes, what we say is, oh, they're different than me. They have something I don't have. Therefore, I don't have to hold myself to that standard. And I'm saying the exact opposite. You have everything you need to do whatever you want in this life, just like anybody else. And they're battling the same demons you are, the same thoughts. Oh, it's just one cookie. It's just this one moment. I needed some extra rest. I deserve it. It's the same stuff. And this brings me to my one of my last points here. And that's the idea of this fuel of the dark energy. I don't know if I've talked enough about it, but most people don't like to talk about this dark energy. But I love talking about it because it's been one of the biggest motivations in my life. Not all motivation has to be, clean, happy, go lucky. It's not all about identity and standards and inspiration quotes and me saying these things. Sometimes the fuel to the fire is the dark energy because it will make you do things, right? It gets you going. So when I really think about it, what is my dark energy when it comes to being in good shape? I think it comes down to this one moment when I'm not going to name names or who it was or what the person said to me, but I'm going to tell you what they said. Yeah, what they did say to me. So when you're in good shape, what people will like to tear you down with is you're too young, or when I was that young, I was in good shape, which I want to fight back to that right now. 90% of people weren't in good shape when they were younger either. They just have this mindset that they think they were. Dude, I went to high school. I went to college. I don't know where all these people said that they were in great shape. It blows my mind. But you were in better shape maybe than you were in your 50s. But it ain't like you were in good shape in high school or college either. Maybe you were just 10 pounds overweight or 20 instead of 60 or 100. But that doesn't mean that you were in great shape, right? So let's get that out of the way. But a lot of people will say you're young, so that's why you're in good shape. And one of the biggest fuels to my fire, one of the things that really gets me going and keeps me in peak shape and stay in shape is so many people have told me, wait till you have kids, wait till you get older. Let's see where you're at then, Quinn. That's the line everybody uses. And it's like it's inevitable, right? That the decline is going to come and they put all this thing on you. And that burns my freaking, that, that wakes me up, man. That's what makes me say, screw it. I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. When I had my first kid, that was my goal. Best shape of my life. Boom, did it. Next kid, same thing. I was like, dang it. I'm going to be in the best shape of my life when I have this next kid. Did it, accomplished, made it happen. Oh, when you get older, you're going to get in worse and worse shape. I've gotten in better shape. I'm coming up on 30. I'm in better shape, right? And some people will say, "Oh, you're still young." You weren't in shape when you were young. So just keep it just keep it piped, man. Just keep it piped. Right? That's the dark energy though. And even if it's not even a real person I'm thinking of, it still motivates me because what someone says you can't do or wait for this moment, sometimes you want to just shove it down their throat. And that's one of the most important things is you got to find that other reason why you're doing it. You got to find a little bit of this other the dark energy side. Because sometimes just doing it because it's what's good isn't always going to motivate you when things get hard. I was trying to think of one other story about that. Those were the big ones. I have a lot that I could share about the dark energy. Maybe I'll do a podcast on just the dark energy of Quinn. Because a lot of people think, oh, you're just a nice guy, whatever the case may be. No, man, I got some demons. I got some dark side to me that I want to freaking run people over, figuratively, but just by proving them wrong, by shoving success down their throat. And it's not even like a real person I'm thinking of. It's just everyone. It's just like, nah, I'm gonna freaking show you and show myself with that dark energy what's possible. Because without that, I don't think you get to that elite level, right? The Michael Jordans, the Kobes, the Conor McGregors, right? They have that dark energy to catapult them as well. So that's the show for today. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you got something out of it. The last thing I'll leave with is everybody has those battles daily. It's not monthly, it's not weekly, it's daily. Those battles with that voice that tells you, nah, it's too hard, or it's too this, or it's too that. And I absolutely have those. Until next time, let's get after it.